Hello. Okay, so we are looking at this question, and the reason we chose it was because it has 2 quotes, and lots of people don't choose the ones with quotes because they're like, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, and it's not that hard. So we're going to look at this. So it says, compare Black Diggers and Longest Memory using the following quotation as a basis for your response. So there isn't exactly like a question as such. It's more like a prompt. Okay? And a lot of people don't like it because it's not like a set question, but I like it because it's not a set question. It gives me a little bit more elbow room, you know, room to breathe. So, the 2 quotes that it gives. They need me. They need lads. For the first time, they need us. And then the other quote is, I said that in so far as a man's labour will always be required in cotton, corn and tobacco fields, I could see no end in slavery. So, the first thing that I always do with quote ones is I work out where the hell they came from and what's the context of them, because that obviously dictates part of the reason why that quote is there. Good, Birdie says it to his granddad. Yeah. Birdie to granddad when he is pleading to go to war. Okay. And then this one where it says, insofar as a man labour will always be required in cotton, corn and tobacco fields, I could see no end to slavery. Where is that from? Who says that?
The Virginian.
Is it the Virginian? For some reason I thought it was Mr. Whitechapel. But you might be right, because I get screwed up with these ones. It might be the Virginian, actually. But I said that insofar as...
Whitechapel actually says, Mr. Whitechapel says that it could be possible, but...
Yeah, you're right. The Virginian. The Virginian in... Let's find it while we're here. Oh, okay. Where is it? I can't even find the Virginian.
I can't find anything.
There it is.
Is it in it?
The Virginian hair.
If you can't think of the context, it's like, I mean, who says it, just think of the context. You don't really...
Yeah, you don't. It's just handy to have it. Particularly while you're still writing drafts, because, like, you can look it up. Alright, I'm going to have to keep moving, aren't I? Can I leave this with you, Morgs? Alright, Morgs is responsible for finding the actual factual quote. So, what's the, I guess, the message behind the 2 of them? So what's the message behind the first one? What kind of things come to mind in regards to the first one? Belonging, good. It's about belonging. It's about what else, Laura?
Like, need for someone, being needed.
Being needed. Needed.
It's a bit more positive than, like, the first one, though. The second one, it's kind of like, well, we're going to enslave you until we don't need you anymore.
Oh!
Page 113, and it's in the Virginian.
Well done, my dear. 113 in the Virginian. Let's read around it. 113. What? I'm not typing. Yeah. But thank you for your concern. I appreciate it. All right. 113. Oh, okay. I was asked if slavery was ever going to come to an end. Clearly, my answer was going to be of critical importance to the questioner, who wanted me to answer in the negative unhesitatingly. So he was talking to a person who was pro-slavery. Much to his consternation, I took my time. I said to him after a long pause when I stared at the heavens that his question had a yes answer, at which his face fell, and a no answer, at which his expression became gleeful, and I asked him which did he care to hear first. He said the negative. I said that insofar as a man's labour will always be required in the cotton, corn and tobacco fields, to name some, I could see no end to slavery. In reply to the affirmative, I said that the world was changing rapidly. 150 years of slavery was a long time. Advances in techniques for manufacturing goods must at some stage influence the work of slaves, and as a result, in much cheaper ways of doing things. How soon, he wondered. I said, not in our lifetime, nor that of our children. This cheered him up mightily. Cool. Yeah?
Could you say that they're then need, like, society needs them differently? So society in black diggers, they're actually like wanted in society. Like when you're saying that, he said they need me, they need the lads for the first time, they need us. But in the longest memory, they needed slavery, which like they're not actually like it's not inclusive. Like,
good, yeah. Slaves are needed for work rather than as like a societal benefit. Yeah. But that's kind of the same in the case of Birdie as well. He just doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Birdie doesn't realise that this is, what do you call it when you're like
Exploitative.
Exploitative. Obviously exploitative. Okay. So the Virginian. Slaves are needed for work rather than a societal benefit. Obviously exploitative. They don't try and sugarcoat their use of humans. Right? Like, whereas, you know, in Black Diggers, there is a lot of sugarcoating it, you know, where, like, you've got that song, you know, Australia needs those, you coloured boys now, here in the shit, every face is brown, you know, like, they kind of make it like, oh, we're now including you, isn't this great, we're so nice, da-da-da. They sugarcoat the fact that they're exploiting Aboriginal people, whereas in the world of slavery, there's no sugarcoating it. It's like, we're going to exploit you until you die, because that's what we do. Because that's slavery. Yeah?
Jazz hands.
Yeah, well, if you add jazz hands, it makes it fun. That's what I've heard. So, they don't try and sugarcoat their use of humans. Also, I guess the context in both of them are interesting in that, like, you know, Birdie is young and naive and wants to feel strong and needed. Whereas in this one, the context of it is that the man that the guy is the man that the guy is talking to wants to see no end in slavery. He's excited to hear that there's no end in slavery. But the editor is actually like, no, slavery will end. Not in our lifetime, but it will end. You know, he can see an end in sight because they'll stop needing them. The editor can see see an end to slavery, but not because of equality, but because of a lack of need. Which is interesting because, like, that's kind of what happens to the Aboriginal people, isn't it? That, like, they become not useful anymore, so people stop giving a shit about them.
Could we say that for both of them? Like,
they're only wanted when they're useful. Yeah.
Yeah, the link could be that they're both useful.
Yeah, and I think in both cases they're only wanted when they're useful, and that's why Mr. Whitechapel is in Devo when Chapel is killed, because he's not useful anymore. He says that. He says, like, a slave who wants to run is dangerous for a plantation because he spreads that bad juju everywhere. Yeah? I don't know if you can write bad juju, but you know what I mean. You know, the bad vibe. Bad vibe, man. You know, he spreads that everywhere.
Seeds of discontent.
Right, so once I've kind of started sorting through, I guess, the premise of both of the prompts. Now, you might not have time to write all of this out and whatever, but, you know, just kind of making notes for yourself, even if they're just kind of haphazard, it's okay because it's your own brain. So you just, you know, making these notes for you to process. Right, so now we have to start going, right, what could be the underlying premise? So we've said for both of them, we've said it's about being needed. Yeah, that idea of being needed and about being exploited. So what I would then do, because I find it easier if I do have a prompt to kind of sit on, is, or like a statement to sit on, a contention, if you will, is I would make up a contention based on these two, about being needed and being exploited. Because that's what these two prompts are about, these two quotes are about. So, let's craft one. Both Black Diggers and the Longest Memory.
Yes.
Yep.
In the piece, are we allowed to write BD and TLM?
We've talked about that. So, the first time you write both of them, you have to say the whole thing. Then after it, so like you have to go... Yeah. So you write it properly, and then after it, you write BD. No. Just the first time, you write Black Diggers, and you underline it, you do all the things that you're supposed to, right? And then just like, so in Black Diggers, brackets, BD, and that says to your reader, every time I say BD, I'm referring to Black Diggers. You still have to underline it.
So you can just say that once in the intro.
Yeah. And then the rest you can do BD, TLM.
Do you have to use them throughout, or can you just use the author's, like, Wright does this without...
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, so you can also say, Wright does this, Daguerre does that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's fine too. Yeah. Cool? Mm-hmm. Happy with that?
Mm.
Excellent. I'm always looking for a shortcut too. Alright, both Black Diggers and Longest Memory, what? Something about being needed and belonging and exploitation.
Both Black Diggers and The Longest Memory,
You gotta be quick.
coloured people are exploited.
We don't say coloured people, we say people of colour or black people. Just because coloured people has negative connotations for African Americans. It's very complicated.
Can you use blacks?
People of colour.
Black people.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the same as, like, we don't say, like, the Aboriginals. We say Aboriginal people. It's just... The finer details of phrasings.
Ooh, yes, Damien has one.
Yeah, I didn't...
Sorry. Let's finish hearing what Laura had to say because I had to interrupt her. So that's my bad.
Both in Black Diggers and The Longest Memory, people of colour are exploited through...
The guise?
What?
The guise?
The guise of being needed and giving a place of belonging.
Alright. People of colour are exploited through the guise of
being needed
and
and a place of belonging.
And
A place to belong.
even just being needed and, a sense of belonging. A sense of belonging?
Sense of belonging. Because then you could talk about how they whitewash them with, like, religion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're trying to give them that sense of belonging so they're easier to control.
Ooh.
They can borrow our God if it makes them good.
Or, how Bertie and that only know our father.
Mm-hmm. And even Laurie, that Laurie finds peace in white religion.
Yeah.
And you're like, but it's not yours. But you can have it. You can use it. I'm not saying that, but like at the same time,
Doesn't belong.
you need to know your own faith. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I've got like a different focus.
Yeah. If you've got an alternate ending, I'd love to hear it. Hang on, I'll just... Yep.
Both Black Diggers and the Law's Memory contend that individuals cannot escape the roles that society places.
Both Black Diggers and the Longest Memory show that...
Black people.
It's alright, I'll go back to it.
Individuals cannot escape the roles that society places.
Can't escape the roles that are forced upon them instead of given. Yeah. Imposed. Cool. I like it. Either one, two different essays, but ultimately two really good responses. And that is why I like picking the quote-based ones. Because it's kind of a bit choose your own adventure. I mean, there's parameters. You've still got to kind of be able to use both quotes in your essay. So, like, both of those quotes, you've got to actually engage those quotes in your paragraphs.
All of them, or just
Both of them.
focusing one?
No, both of them.
Can you use parts of them? Or the
You can use parts of them, but you've got to use them. Yeah. You got to use them. Yeah.
Is that geese or guys?
Guys. Disguise. Something hidden. Yes. That's all right. So that's why I like the two quotas, because you have to kind of find the link, which can be a little bit tricky, but once you find it, you actually get to kind of take your own road a little. You can, if you get a broad question, you can still do that, but a lot of questions will kind of, shove you into a particular type of essay.
Definitely got to get a quote question.
No, not necessarily, but you could. So I wanted to show you them and get you used to them, because particularly VCAR like to use them. VCAR love them because they're lazy and it requires them to do no writing. Win for them. This is the third email that's told me that I need to mark my roll. So let's just mark a roll. Let's just mark a roll.
You might want to pause it.
Oh yeah. Back.
Wait to pass 11
Right.
times.
So,
Pass
all right. So, both. Which one do we want to do for now? Well, we can do both, but whatever. We'll start this one first because it's first. So, both Black Digger and The Longest Memory, people in both. Miss Richardson, you're a disgrace to your profession. All right. In Black Diggers and Longest Memory, people of colour are exploited through the guise of being needed and a sense of belonging. So, what could be my first paragraph? What should be my first paragraph, do you think? Like that
Disillusionment.
do you think that should be the first?
No, just like one of them.
I think it should definitely be one of them.
Being needed.
Yeah, I think like that misguided. Well, do we want to do the exploit or do we want to do the feeling needed first?
Well, feeling needed is kind of what both quotes are about.
Yeah.
And then being exploited is a sub-part of that, because they're both being exploited, but one doesn't know.
Alright. So, in that, so our first paragraph, Stevie Wonder. Oh, God, we got two of them. Stevie and Stevie Wonder. So, the misguided feeling of being needed. We can obviously use the Birdie quote here, which is great because we've got to use it. So let's go Birdie quote. That is Daniel Nicolo. So we can use the Birdie quote. What else could we use? We could also use Mick about being the good coon. Or should we save that for disillusionment? Yeah.
Could you use it in both?
Oh, and we can use the song, the Black Boys what is it? The hearing the shit every face is brown or something. That comes straight after Birdie talks about this too. It's like just after Birdie signs up.
Disillusion.
Where are you, Birdie? Birdie, where are you? Why can't I find you when I need you? There it is. Haha. Okay. Yeah, so page 40. Pardon?
Is this a quote?
This is the they need us, they need lads for the first time they need us. Yeah. And then we want the thing where it says, yeah, the song.
That's page
31.
31.
Thank you, my dear. Smashing it. Alright,
Raindrops.
oh no, that's the world's turned upside down. Oh no, it is. Same thing. My bad. The world's turned upside down. The white man needs us coloured boys now. Here in the shit, every face is brown. Right. Okay. And they'll like that because you're using the text construction stuff of the song, The World's Turned Upside Down, whereas like a lot of people will ignore all those little inserts. Those little like songs and poems and stuff like that. A lot of people will just ignore them and not use them. So by using them, you already kind of show that you're a little bit cleverer than the average cat. What can we use to show the misguided feeling of being needed by the longest memory? Where do we? What? Yep.
Whitechapel's obedience.
Whitechapel. What's a scene or an event that particularly shows that?
You could probably talk about how he didn't want Chapel to run away because he thought that he'd be fine.
Yeah, when he dobs him in. Yeah. Dobbing in.
Snitches
His-
get whips.
They do. They do.
Death.
Son to Mr. Whitechapel.
Even the part where he goes, Mr. Whitechapel will hear about, like something like that, where he goes and after he gets hit by Sanders Jr., he goes, Mr. Whitechapel will hear
Yeah.
about this, or the oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't remember the part.
Yeah.
You got it right. Oh, that was it? I was just thinking Harry Potter. I'm like,
Yeah. There's a meme in that. That Whitechapel is Draco.
I A misguided Someone make a poster.
Yeah, someone get on that. Whitechapel's sense of power comes from belonging. I was just about to type my father will hear about this.
Mr. Whitechapel.
What does he say?
It's like Mr.
The master.
The master. The master
That's what I was thinking.
will hear of this. I know, my cackle. I've inherited it from my mother. My mother has the cackle too. The cackle.
Wouldn't we
Could you also
combine our ideas and then send the paragraphs out in text construction?
Sorry?
Wouldn't we combine our ideas after this and then focus the paragraphs on text construction?
Well, it doesn't have to be on text construction. We can just work in some text construction. So, for instance, when we do the world's turned upside down thing, I'm going to use that as text construction. So I'm going to say, Wright inserts this song to...
Can we focus our paragraphs on text construction if you want?
Yeah, you can. I feel like it might be harder in this one to actually just do text construction in every paragraph. Like, as in, like, you know how, was it yesterday we did a question that was just text construction? Yeah, I don't think...
Technically, you could always use text.
Yeah, you can always use it, but I feel like you can't always use it as the basis of each argument. Does that make sense? But you can always use it for evidence, definitely. Yeah, you can always put evidence in, but I don't think I could base my arguments on text construction with this one. I think I would do a stronger essay if I based it on ideas at the moment. Yeah. So, the first argument is the misguided feeling of being needed. My second argument, I don't know why I can't make a big dot again. I'll do it up here and then I'll cut
You
and
gotta
paste.
what you can do is you go into the home section and then you gotta use the indent sort of thing.
The home section.
So go to the home section and then see over there, I think you have to use the indent thing.
There. No. Left.
Yeah, that's the one.
I learned something. You can teach an old dog new tricks. No, because then it just takes it away. It won't
Sometimes it
Anyway,
stuffs up.
it does. Okay, the misguided feeling of being needed, and then we were going to do the exploitation. But this is all a guise for white society's exploitation of people of colour. And then my final paragraph was going to be about the damage that does, or when people get disillusioned, wasn't it? That ultimately people wake up and realise, yeah. But ultimately, oh, Baba, you'll be okay. It's okay, we're going to do yours next. Yeah. But ultimately, the people who have been conned into a false sense of belonging realize their mistake and become disillusioned.
Oh, that's another dot point thing.
Disillusioned with the system that exploits them. Right. So, in this one, we've got the first argument is the misguided feeling of being needed. That oppressed people are given this misguided feeling of being needed. And then we said, but it's all but this feeling of being needed is all a guise for white society's exploitation of people of colour. And then your final paragraph for this essay would be, but ultimately, the people who have been conned into a false sense of belonging realise their mistake and become disillusioned with the system that exploits them. Make sense? Happy with that? Yeah, I can. Yeah. Now, the one thing that I did want to comment on that I did notice with people was that they were struggling with comparison, like actually coming up with comparison.
You said likewise, and that's competitive.
No, it's not enough. It's not enough. That, like, people are just kind of going, oh, but like, I know I'm supposed to compare, but what do I say? Like, how do I compare? So I was thinking maybe we do it here with this one. Like, what would I write in the bit of comparison in this paragraph? Does that make sense? Or am I just, like, saying words?
Yes, you always just say that.
Yeah, I know, but, like, you know how sometimes, like, people speak and you just, like, they're just words.
Oh, you know.
I can't construct meaning out of it.
It's like reading the book. I just read words.
That's not true. The book is wonderful.
Really is.
Actually, who's friends with Leah
Facility.
Yeah, who's friends with Leah? Because Leah wants help getting the longest memory. And I was like, find a friend that likes the longest memory and talk to him about it. Yeah. Adrian knows it well, doesn't he? All right, mine. Yeah. Aggie, you're not signing up for that one, right? Find Adrian, Leah. Talk to Adrian. He knows that book. Someone else told me that they really liked it.
Talia cried.
I don't blame her. I cried when I read it. Yeah, I cried when I read it. It was so sad. I didn't cry at Chapel's death. I cried at Whitechapel's death.
The end.
I cried at Whitechapel's death. Yeah.
I cried at both.
Because he was just so, like,
I cried
helpless
at
at the end. Yeah, I was sad for Cook. I didn't cry there, but I did cry at the end. Because I was just like, it's just so hopeless.
Yeah, I had to take like
Yeah.
2 breaks. Yeah.
It was tough. It's a tough read. Alright. So, this is where I'm going to do comparison. I'm just going to, like, dot point out what we would write for comparison. Alright. So, basically with your comparison, I'll just wait. Basically with your comparison, you have to look at the pieces of evidence that you've given and go, okay, well, what are the similarities of the pieces of evidence that I've given? And what are the similarities between the things that they've said about this topic, about this argument? Okay? And if there are differences, you can also comment on that. I like adding differences where there are differences because I think it adds a little bit more texture's the wrong word, but more complexity to it. Yeah.
So that bit that's highlighted, that's like a part of each other.
So this is argument 1.
Yeah.
This is argument 2.
Yeah.
And this is going to be argument 3.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So all of this black stuff is all what I'm going to talk about in my first argument. So, how can we compare the Birdie quote, the world's turned upside down stuff, and Whitechapel's loyalty about dobbing in his son? What are the similarities between Whitechapel dobbing in his son and Birdie going, they need us? Yep.
Indoctrination.
Yeah! Laura's right. They're both indoctrinated. Whitechapel's obviously indoctrinated into this idea of being the slave, and Birdie is indoctrinated into this idea of Australia and patriotism and needing to fight for his country. Yeah. Good point. 10 points to I'm gonna go Ravenclaw.
What's wrong with Ravenclaw?
What's wrong with Ravenclaw?
I don't know what I am.
No, you're definitely Ravenclaw.
I don't think I could get past the door. Ask me a riddle and I'd just be like, no.
No, but like, Ravenclaw isn't just about being smart. It's about like what you value and what you see as important and stuff like that too.
Every time I do the Pottermore quiz, I can only get Gryffindor even when I'm not trying.
Maybe Gryffindor.
Nah, that's shit.
Okay, well, I don't know what
Am I
to say.
Slytherin?
No.
Oh.
No.
You don't have
Who's
enough
Slytherin
members.
in this class?
Maybe you.
What about me, miss? What am I?
Hufflepuff.
What's that?
You deserve a one.
They're about like people who care.
Oh, that's me.
Definitely Hufflepuff.
Gryffindor's about bravery.
Why am I Slytherin?
And courage.
No, I don't want to be in Slytherin.
No, you're a Slytherin.
I did a BuzzFeed quiz. I don't know if I'm
I don't want to be a
I'm gonna do
Slytherin.
BuzzFeed.
Can we?
I think you're a Slytherin.
Can we like make a school where they sort you into
Slytherin
a
are
house
bad.
based on what you
No,
What
they're
house you'd be
ambitious.
in Harry Potter.
They're ambitious.
Not stereotype.
That is a stereotype. That's a negative stereotype. Don't feed into those.
Not
No,
all people that
Slytherins are ambitious.
People that aren't, not all evil people.
What am I miss?
Not all Slytherins are evil,
Hufflepuff.
because not all ambitious people are evil, but all evil people are ambitious.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say you would, like, the hat would go, ooh, Ravenclaw or Slytherin, and I reckon they'd put you in Slytherin.
Like Slytherin is the embodiment of chaos.
Right, so comparison.
Yeah, but that's
That's
different.
both come to their sense of belonging through their indoctrination. Alright. So
Thank you.
I think what Laura said is super clever. So she realised that both examples show that people come to this that Bertie and Whitechapel both come to their sense of belonging through indoctrination. You know, that they've kind of been brainwashed to think this, and so that's why they do. What else could you say is similar and or different about these two and their misguided feeling about being needed?
This. I feel like
Yeah.
we missed an opportunity. We probably should have talked about like the trope given to us by the Virginian for the first paragraph because we need to address it.
I was thinking we could put it in the second one.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought I'd put it in the second paragraph.
But like, even then, like between the two texts, they don't really hide in like Black Diggers. They try and hide the fact that they're exploiting them, but in Longest Memory, it's quite.
It's
they don't
and that's
care.
what I'm thinking. I'll put in the second paragraph
As a difference.
as a difference. Yeah, but good pickup. Yes.
In The Longest Memory, Whitechapel feels a connection with the oppressors, but in Black Diggers, I guess.
But Bertie's the exception, isn't he?
Bertie feels camaraderie with them as well, but it's like a different sort of connection.
It's like a desire for connection, isn't it? Like he wants the connection, whereas Whitechapel feels like he already has it. Yeah. Bertie does signs up because of a desire for connection, whereas Whitechapel dobs in his son because that feeling is already established and he feels loyalty to it. Alright. Lachlan, shut your pie hole.
Ew, it's a pie hole. I kiss it. It's Stevie Wonder.
I love pie.
Alright. You are wonderful, Stevie. You're wonderful. Right. Yes.
It might be a bit simple, but like their need to feel needed is a result of society, like sort of
Yeah.
isolating them.
Showing them that they're not needed. Yeah. Their craving to feel needed is a direct result of their oppression, which has always represented them as, what do you call it, where like you can throw something away? Disposable. Expendable, disposable. No worries, it's been a pleasure. I'll send this to you.
Thank you.
No worries. Alright,
Thanks, Mary.
so can you see the kind of depth that I'm looking for in terms of the comparison? That I don't want just like, hey,
I just said thanks for behaving.
such a shit. Can you see how what I want from your comparison is kind of a real depth of thought? That I don't want just like one throwaway line at the end of your second lot of explanation. I want something that you actually explore the ideas and actually think about, well, how are these representations similar? How are they different? Like what's going on with them that is saying, something a little bit more deeply? Yep.
What's your ratio of comparison to of analyzing to comparison?
I would say for comparison, I would want 4 or 5 sentences at least. Yeah.
And then the rest is analyzing.
Okay, well, I just
In each paragraph.
Oh, yeah.
So in each paragraph, write 4 to 5 sentences.
Each bit of evidence.
I didn't write
No. So
necessarily.
you go topic sentence, evidence, explanation for first text, evidence, explanation for second text, comparison, 4 to 5 sentences, and then link.
But you can compare throughout as well.
Yeah, you can compare throughout as well. If you want to kind of dust it through instead, then that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, try and do I would say 4 to 5 sentences. Yeah, per paragraph. Yeah.
How long did you actually spend?
Good question, Adelaide. Ladies, gents, Damons, Lachlan's. It's Teakle. Teakle.
So T-E-E-C-E-E-L.
Wrong. T-E-E-C-L.
T, 4 E's,
What's the
C,
E
L.
after C?
There's no E after C.
Why'd you say it?
I didn't. I said L.
Again then?
T-E-E. I'll draw it on the board.
T,
Hang on.
4 E's, C, L.
Yes. So, I think we know who hasn't watched our video.
And
T,
do we need 4 paragraphs?
E. So, evidence from text 1, explanation for text 1, and then usually it's nice to have like a similarly or like in contrast, whatever. No, just so that you have like a little, that it doesn't just feel like now I'm jumping to the next thing, that it feels like you're like a little segue. And then evidence from text 2.
Similarly, Tom Wright uses blah 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 to show blah blah blah.
Exactly. And then comparison, and then link.
But isn't the comparison of the evidence?
No.
That's just one.
No, you're explaining the evidence that you give for, say, the birdie quote. So you're explaining the birdie quote there, and then you then do the longest memory stuff, explain the longest memory stuff, and then compare them, and link it back. Yeah?
You saying it again?
It's just your topic sentence. No, it's just your topic sentence again. Yeah, just like text response essays. Yeah. All right.
Miss.
It's hard
Good question.
That makes it better.
to get to say.
Did you get my second draft?
Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Well, the one to celebrities bad.
So hopefully that helped. You know what would have helped? If you watched the video that I made.
Do we need
Anyway.
4 paragraphs? Or is it
4 paragraphs, no. 3 paragraphs would be great. If
Because we read that it was 4.
no, I came up with 4, but you don't need to have 4. But if you've got 4, go for it. You're a butt. Right. I'll just wait.
That's on thing.
Yeah, I know.
You can-
I know, right?
you can get it spelled.
I'll think about it. So, the thing that Adelaide asked was, how long should I spend on planning? I would say, because we've got an hour and a half to write this sucker, I would say spending 10 minutes on it would be reasonable. I would say if you spent more time than 10 minutes, you might find yourself in a bit of a pickle. So, I'd try and stick to 10 minutes.
On the exam,
On the exam, 5 minutes.
and then 5 minutes editing. So you're only writing for 50 minutes.
I know, right? Stressful! But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Don't worry about it right now.
So how many of these tea sickles are there?
This,
Yes.
3. 1 per paragraph. This is a paragraph. 1 paragraph.
Right.
Any other questions? Right. Can I stop the video and we'll do some writing? Yeah?
Can we?
Bye!